So it was a big soccer tournament this month, hey? Let's talk about that. Australia qualified for the World Cup for the 6th time in a row. Much easier process than the last World Cup in 2022. We just played well in our qualifying group. Didn't have to play a playoff against a South American team like usual. So, felt like it crept up on all of us. I didn't really have any plans to watch our opening game against Turkey until a few days beforehand. We all decided to go to varsity after felt like all the news stories in the lead up about how high the ticket prices were, how badly immigration control was going to be at the games, stuff that I think a lot of people were worried about, but didn't seem to stop anyone from tuning in anyway. It's a very exciting first game for an Aussie. We did not play amazingly, but we certainly outplayed Turkey. Probably our best game as a team, honestly. Big Irankunda goal to open things up. Whole bar went nuts. I was watching at Varsity, which is a sports bar chain. Has a few locations around Perth. It was a great day out, and the reaction was pretty positive. A lot of AFL players were annoyed that AFL had games, I'm sure the NRL was the same, had games on during the World Cup game, overlapping, which couldn't have been good for ratings or attendance, but here we are. Switch hands, my back's getting sore. Please excuse any noise in the background, I'm just walking around my suburb. Game against Turkey, great fun, very good vibes. Felt like we'd actually maybe win a knockout game for our first time ever. That was a good feeling. Irankunda, Metcalf goals. Then they were subbed off the next game. Oh yeah. And the fact that we played Turkey was pretty historically significant. A lot of people were quite happy about that, just in that us and Turkey, our nation-defining, like, major battle that gave birth to our national identity was the same battle, Gallipoli, 1915. And kind of cool that we got to play Turkey. I mean, the main joke was Patrick Beach, our pretty unheard of goalie. Not a lot of these Socceroos players were at all well known before the tournament, at least outside soccer circles. Suddenly he's a star who everyone knows the name of. The main joke was, now Turkey knows how hard it is to attack a beach. But there's never any bad blood between Australians and Turks over Gallipoli. Honestly, the main narrative is the more that our boys were sent there by the British, their boys were just sent there by Ataturk, and no one really thought of the battle in any grandiose terms. At least the soldiers didn't. But great game, good day out. Second one was against America, the USA, the host country, the biggest country in the world, according to them. It's kind of true though. Very fun as well. I watched in Northbridge at 3 a.m, which was stupid because it was 3 a.m. in Australia, 5 a.m. on the East Coast, and noon on a Friday in Seattle where the game was. So locals couldn't even go without calling off work. Pretty stupid. I don't know who thought that through, but very fun, very enjoyable experience. Even though we lost, there was one American guy next to me who was pretty annoying, but other than that, glad me and my mate did it. In America, a lot of stereotypes, a lot of jokes we could make. Might show some on screen if I can find them. But we like America on some level. It wasn't politically charged like it might be for some other matchups. It's not like the US were ever threatening to invade Australia like, you know, some other countries. It was a pretty good day out, morning out. Third match against Paraguay was literally the prisoner's dilemma. A draw would have had both of us qualify. A loss for either team would have eliminated the other. It was a very boring game. probably the worst game of the whole tournament. Just in that cute little bird. Just in that neither team really tried. Iran Kunda looked a bit off the pace. He's way better on the wing. He always looked a few metres out of place when he was playing striker. Other than that, it was a pretty sedate affair. It was 10 a.m. in Perth on a Friday, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, probably not as many viewers as the Turkey game, but it's good that we got to see our boys at a good time again. And we don't know much about Paraguay. The fact that a woman on the $10 note, the woman on the $10 note, was lived in Paraguay for a lot of her adult life, didn't seem to come up whenever we talked about Paraguay. The fact there's a new Australia, Nueva Australia, in Paraguay. No one really seems to even be aware of that. We have history with Paraguay as a country, just that the place itself is rather, I don't know what a good term is, like, just not interesting to us. We don't really have many Paraguayans in Australia. Not many of us speak Spanish. The only song I could think of that mentions Paraguay, I picked a song for like my Instagram story for every matchup. The only song I could think of was Pelados Some Santos by a certain band with a horrible name. Best album of all time though. But we were through the knockouts. Our first knockout appearance, well, since 2022, but before that, since 2006, I'm pretty sure. Very exciting. We played Egypt, one of my favourite countries. My great-grandpa served in Egypt in World War I. Could have moved there, had the choice of moving to Egypt or Australia, so it was a pretty dream matchup for me. And Egypt just has such a big culture and such a huge shadow over global culture. You know, so many songs I could choose to play on my story, so many things I could have dressed as if I wanted to. I went back to Northbridge, third game at Northbridge. At the live site, there were people dressed as Anubis, dressed as pharaohs. Oh yeah, Chance, I should have mentioned Chance. So, well, not really a chant, but now Turkey know how hard it is to attack a beach. The Aussie boys are on a bender, Donald Trump, you know, you get the deal. And I'm wearing my sister's sunnies by mistake, by the way. Aussie boys are on a bender. And all then against Egypt, the main chant everyone at Northbridge was singing was F the pyramids, which I mean, like, bit mean. Egyptian fans there didn't seem to appreciate it, but it's all good fun. We don't have any beef with Egypt. A lot of Aussies, like my great-grandpa, served in Egypt in World War I. Remember an Australian story novel about World War I that had I felt like it was very shoehorned in, a very cliche. Before the characters went to Gallipoli, had a chase through a market in Cairo, knocking over those like cones of spices. That felt very cliche. That's a tangent, lol. I'm glad I went to Northbridge, and if I got hit by a bottle, thankfully it was empty and only plastic, but still, fans started to boil over towards the end. Crap refereeing. We thought the refereeing against America was bad when the ref took a small bribe 20 years ago, but it was actually the head of the officiating crew that made him take it, and he was a witness, like helped the prosecution in the case, and he was only banned while the case was ongoing. That was a bit of editorialisation. The ref against Egypt genuinely probably cost us the game. Shocking calls. Geordie Boss. The first half was all the injuries were fake. It was a soccer match, of course they were fake. Geordie Boss genuinely had our star winger genuinely had to get subbed off with an injury. And the ref kept play running for 30 seconds until the half would have ended, and then just ended the half. Didn't give us a chance to play with a free kick. Nothing. Just no card. Horrible. Hope the camera angle isn't too bad. I've never recorded like this before. Shocking. Either way, second half, very good. We scored a goal, which was exciting. Felt like it was a long time coming. Even though it was an own goal, we were still happy. Northbridge, Fed Square, everywhere lit up. Aussies were going to extra time. where we played pretty boring, felt like not much was happening. Then penalties, and Harry Suter, big lumbering big lumbering centre-back, 2 metres tall, took the first penalty, skied it. Shocking. Hope he doesn't get too much abuse, but it was a pretty bad penalty effort. We sink a couple, but Egypt just kept going. Then for some reason, this is the main story, it felt like. Lucas Harrington, 18, 19-year-old, centre-back as well, plays in the MLS. Clearly quite a good young talent, but definitely not someone who should be taking the do-or-die penalty. Hit it off the crossbar. Felt like there's a bit of anger that he was the one made to take the penalty and not, Mo Torre. Geordie Bosgood and Chikati, I don't think had taken a penalty yet. Pretty sure he was available. Also subbing Patrick Beach, star goalie, off. Not sure what the deal was there. It's not like with Matty Ryan getting subbed off for Andrew Redmayne against Peru in 2022. This is a bit different because Matty Ryan was subbed on. Not sure what the scene was there. Pretty silly move. I don't think it cost us because I don't see many of those penalties getting saved by any goalie, the ones that Egypt took. But, well, knockouts. Most Aussies switch to supporting a second team. For me it's Croatia. Most Aussies, it's either England, Italy, probably at the moment Argentina, Spain, Brazil, France, just because people like their players and they're always good. It's on Germany, wanted them to do well. They got knocked out. Croatia, pretty bogus. Snicko knocked them out. Felt like I was watching cricket there. The World Cup itself, great atmos. Don't quite know where I'll be going to watch the final. Got a few places to choose from. Either way, I'll be watching live vlogging on my Insta, probably. Drop us a follow. This is probably getting promoted on my Insta, so you'll probably be following already, lol. But Australia, World Cup, pretty good effort. I haven't been licking my lips too much, by the way, but I'm heading home now. Proud of my boys, proud of my country. I'm not racist. The political stuff, here's what I was wanting to talk about. Pauline Hanson, star, rising star, been around for years and years. My whole life, probably my whole life, plus another 15, 20 years, she's been a known figure. Conservative, anti-immigration, taking donations from big billionaires, all the classics. Her idea, she had finally got given a press club address after a few years of never being given the chance, probably because she wasn't that popular or was turning it down. Pauline, what are you doing? Saying you want to defund the SBS during a World Cup. The SBS, the national, quote-unquote, ethnic broadcaster that shows soccer matches. Used to show basketball. I think it was just because the NBL couldn't get a better deal. But Pauline tanked her approval rating. Probably other reasons. Her whole National Press Club address was famously a bit of a train wreck, but it's pretty ridiculous. You could see Arvo Marble, Socceroos player. I don't know if he was born in South Sudan, but he's Sudanese, like South Sudanese ethnically. Talking to David Bashir, the commentator, one of the journalists, who was asking him questions. He was like amazed that the journal he grew up listening to talk about soccer, commentating soccer matches, was asking him a question after a World Cup match. You can't take that away, Pauline. Shocking. Aussies got behind the team. I mean, it's not like we got that far. We didn't win any knockout matches. No one was getting sacked for celebrating too hard, probably because we didn't achieve that much. If we won a knockout match for the first time, that probably would have had a few people calling in sickies on the Saturday. Other than that, I think that's all I really have to say. Might add something more at the end, but have a good time, guys. Phone's running low on battery by my standards, but a couple of things I forgot to add. songs I picked for the Turkey match muster, I think it was just Horses, Daryl Brathwaite, just because it was Aussie. The US one, Born in the USA, I mean, it's probably the most pro-America sounding anti-America song there is. It's not anti-America, but you know what I mean. Egypt, Nightboat to Cairo, obvious. Please don't dox me. Those houses behind me. What else? Kind of glanced over this, but a lot of the Socceroos players just aren't that well known by most Aussies. Like a lot of us, I didn't really know who Patrick Beach was, even though I occasionally watch A-League. A lot of these players won't really stick around, I guess you could say. A lot of these Socceroos players, I kind of glanced over this earlier, just aren't that well known here. Like, I didn't know who Patrick Beach was when he was picked in the squad. I was wondering why we wouldn't just have Matty Ryan start, but clearly it paid off. But a lot of these players just won't really be big names back when they come back home. I mean, amongst soccer fans they would be, but it's kind of rare to meet someone whose main sport that they follow is soccer and keeps up with Aussie players rather than players from, Italy or England. So it's kind of unusual with a player like Iran Kundu can get as famous as he is. He really is the next Tim Cahill in terms of being the face of soccer here. And can't wait to see more of him. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.